Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. This is Maria Furlano. I'm so glad you're here. And today I'm going to be answering a question that I got a couple of weeks ago. And the question was, why is it so difficult to change a pattern? Recently, this past week, I did an answer to this question on a video that I put on my YouTube channel, but I wanted to expound upon my answer and this topic just a little bit. Before we jump into that, and I have some helpful tools today, if you're struggling with changing a pattern or you're wondering why it's so difficult to change a pattern, it's a great question. And this has come up often, a lot about why can't I change something that I know that I should change, or why can't I stay consistent with things? So I'm going to give you 3 things to look at today if you are in the middle of changing a pattern that I hope are going to help put you over that edge or over that hump to get you moving forward. But before we do that, as always, let's take a nice deep breath and just tune in and bring us to the present. I want to thank you if you're brand new here today. Thank you for finding me. And just a little bit, if you don't know who I am, I'm a healer and a teacher of soul, mind, body practices. And my goal is to help people learn how to tune in, reset, and cultivate their energetic well-being so they stop feeling depleted and anxious and in pain and overwhelmed. And one of the ways that we do that is we tune in right away by using our breath. So I'd like to ask you to take a nice deep breath in, and we want to focus on making your exhale just a little longer than your inhale. Wherever you are, whether you're driving or making dinner or going out on a walk, just a little bit longer exhale, taking your time to focus in. So go ahead and breathe in if you can through your nose. And then when you're ready, just very gently exhale out your nose or your mouth, whichever's comfortable for you. Make it nice and long. And what this beautiful thing does is it actually helps relax your heart rate. When you're ready again, breathing in nice and long, nice and even, and exhale nice and long and relaxed. So the more we do this, the more we practice getting present quickly. And if we do this throughout our day, it really helps to reset our energy. So why is it so difficult to change a pattern? Well, we get used to living in a certain vibrational state. It's that simple. We are used to being a certain way. We are used to our frequency resonating a certain way. Our habits are a certain frequency. Our relationships are a certain frequency. Our patterns are a certain vibrational frequency. So whether it's how you're thinking, whether it's who we hang around, the conversations that we seem to always have, the topics that we seem to read, look at, whether it's how we start our day or how we end our day, what we eat, what we don't eat, right? You get the picture, what we like to do, how we're active, how we're not active, whatever it is. We are just used to being how we are. So if we want to change, actually really change something that we've been doing, we have to really understand that it means we're going to be shaking things up, that we're going to be changing a very specific way that we're moving through our life, a way that we've gotten really used to, which means that we're changing our vibration, or at least we're changing the vibration of that pattern. And what people usually do when they're wanting to change something, and either they start and maybe it's going well, and then maybe they're not as consistent with it all of a sudden, and they can't seem to stay on track with it, usually the vibration that they begin to take on is they beat themselves up. They start to do this mind trick on themselves that I call the should syndrome, where they start to say, I should do this, I shouldn't do this, why do I do this, why don't I do that, right? And there's this guilt that goes around and around in the brain, and it becomes a no-win game, especially for changing anything in our life, right? It doesn't really do us any good, but we still do it, right? So I want to give you today 3 things to think about. And one of those is when you're changing a pattern, the first question you really need to ask yourself, and this is going to seem really simple, but please hear me out. Do I really want to change this pattern? That's the first question. Do I really want to change this pattern? And the reason that I bring this up is that when I coach people privately, a lot of times people are dealing with illnesses or pain syndromes or overwhelmment and anxiousness, and they've been recommended by their health professional to give up a certain thing in their life or change a certain thing in their life that isn't good for them. Okay, now that can be anything from addictions to, food, to alcohol, to smoking, overwork and stress and relationships, and just, it can be a myriad of things. And sometimes when we're told by a professional that we really need to change something, sometimes we can be relieved and we can feel like, okay, I know what's going on now, and if I do this thing in a different way, I will feel better. And I feel the motivation now and the support with my medical team or therapists to actually begin to change. And that's fantastic when that happens because you actually have the support, and I always suggest support. But on the other side of that, and I've seen this happen many times, a lot of times people are told something and they know that something isn't serving them. They know it's not serving their emotional self or their health or their lifestyle, whatever it is, but they get really stubborn. Someone tells them that they need to change something, so they start out changing it, maybe just because they know they should, or they're doing it out of fear, which can be even worse, or they just feel guilty, whatever it is. But someone told them they should change something, and so that's why they're changing it. And the problem with this is that they haven't found within themselves why they want to change this, and if they really even want to change it. So it's so much easier if you can find in yourself, do I really want to change? Do I really want to change this pattern that I'm doing, and why? And to be honest, we all know that the reason why we can resist change is because we've just gotten really comfortable in a certain way of being. We've gotten comfortable thinking a certain way or doing certain activities or not doing certain activities. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But the second question that I have people ask themselves, and that I'm always asking myself as well, is, well, if I want to change a pattern, or if there's a pattern in my life that isn't serving me, it's not serving my health, it's not serving my well-being, it's not serving my energy levels, why is this pattern so comfortable for me to stay in? So that would be the second question that I would suggest that you ask and journal about and think about is, why is this current pattern so comfortable for me to stay in? And then the third question that I would ask yourself is, what am I resisting? What am I resisting about actually changing this pattern? So if you've gone through the steps of, do you really want to change the pattern? So do I really want to change this pattern, or am I being told I should change this pattern? Where is this coming from? Is it coming from within me as a real change from my heart center that I really want to change? Or are there other reasons around this pattern, and you want to come to terms with that. You want to come to a peaceful resolve with that. And then the second question, why is this current pattern so comfortable for me to stay in? And then finally, what am I resisting? What am I resisting about changing this pattern? Sometimes what we need to do is just get to the deepest, honest parts of ourselves, with ourselves, by ourselves, so we can let down all of our guard and just stop running. We just need to be honest. It's not about the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, right? It's about what's really coming up for me around this. And then when you're able to do that, often then you're able to really talk to somebody about that. You're able to get support you need. We often try to change our patterns on our own, and that's fine. But a lot of times when we've been doing something the same way over and over and over again, we really do need some support. So whether it's from your really good friends who understand where you're coming from, maybe it's from a support group or from professional people like therapists, whatever it is, don't be afraid to get support to change a pattern. A pattern is a big deal, right? Again, you've been living in a vibrational state for a certain amount of time, right? You've been repeating the same patterns the same way for probably a very long time. And for you to even have the courage to want to change something for the better for yourself, well, I think that's really to be celebrated. So I hope that this will help. I hope that it gives you some insights. It's very simple. Just get honest with yourself. What are you resisting and why? And be gentle. Go into your heart. Why am I resisting this? Just allow the wisdom of your heart to speak to you. Your inner knowing, your internal wisdom, it knows everything. And it's the perfect place to always start from. And again, if you need support, reach out and get support. You deserve it. Thank you for your questions. Please keep them coming and have a beautiful week, everybody. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to learn more and elevate your energetic well-being, I invite you to visit theartoftuningin.com, where you can learn all about our online studio. I look forward to meeting you there.